For USCFootball.com, I'm Keely Eure here with Dan Weber for instant analysis of USC's Tuesday practice of UNLV week. And it was also the first practice where JT Daniels is starting quarterback. Of course, that he was named on Sunday, so we had a gap between instant analysis. First off, JT Daniels is the quarterback. What do you see from his first practice as the quarterback?
You know, I think it's hard to separate his first practice as quarterback from his first press conference as quarterback, because he was just dominating in that press conference. He's so comfortable. He's so calm. He's so not 18 years old. He's so, handles himself, so well. He's thought about all this stuff. He's figured it out. It's pretty amazing to watch him do that. As you said, you noticed a couple of times he wasn't, absolutely used to being the first guy on everything. Today was a good day, probably in a way, because today is the run heavy day, the full pads run heavy day. So he's not, they're not going out there and throwing the ball all around and doing a lot of, one-on-ones and some 7-on-7. But in the 11-on-11, you're mostly, getting to see, the run game, which I thought they ran the ball well. I thought the competitiveness is what you want to see keep happening here. We got to see some scout team work. The offense did some, dummy work and walkthrough work against the scout team, but the defense, when they go against, kind of that service team period, they're really going against second and third team guys.
Yes.
So you don't even see a scout team running the other team's offense. Oh, I just hit me. We forgot to ask the one question: who was the number 13 running the scout team offense? We have a new walk-on, apparently. Quarterback who's trying, and they threw him right in there, and they had him running options and kind of, stepping in as the, because the UNLV guy that you're going to have to stop is their, quarterback, and that was in it. We'll have to follow up on that, because that was sort of the one mystery coming out of today's practice.
You mentioned JT's scrum. I think it was one of the biggest media scrums we've had in a while. I think it was 3 deep around him in a half circle. But he handled it like a pro, having eye contact with whoever asked him a question, answering complete, well thought out answers, and that's hard to do, especially as a young rookie. What was notable about his presser?
Well, I mean, and for those who weren't here, I was telling you, that's how it used to be.
Yep.
I mean, that's how. Where ESPN essentially had a bureau at Howard Jones Field. I would guess there were a couple of dozen, media in that immediate scrum area. I liked your word. You told somebody you were scrumming instead of requesting individual interviews. And today was one of those days where you kind of went, well, where's the next scrum going to happen? Because I don't want to be in the back. I want to be up front. But this is a good. Let's face it, this is a good town if you are a star, if you're really a star. And to this point, obviously, JT's a star. Now, it gets a little tougher from here on out, but this town loves stars. And today was a really good example, and I thought he just couldn't have handled it any better. He does not appear to be all taken with himself.
No.
That he's part of this team, and it's about coming out and practicing and getting better, and it's not about him and big deal me or anything like that. You don't get that sense at all. You also don't get the sense that he's a freshman. I mean, I'm sorry, we can say it 100 times. He doesn't look, act, play, sound like a freshman.
Yeah, it was impressive. Another guy, his friend, Almond Ross St. Brown, we got to talk to for the first time this fall camp. And he said he's excited to be punt returner. He was named punt returner in Sunday's depth chart release. But he said he's going to have to get used to a college environment and all that noise that's going to happen when he's out there returning punts.
Well, he's so smart. He said, and it's kind of understated, but people, they ask him, what's it take, to be a punt return guy? And his answer is so smart. He said, well, first of all, you have to catch it. I mean, and people who remember last year in USC and punt returns say, whoa, that is a really smart answer. First, you have to catch it. And that lets you know he really does get it. I mean, then the other stuff happens, and you know, but you know, if you don't catch it, nothing happens. And so again, you know, very kind of grounded. Although, you know, here today he comes here and there's a 3-person crew from German television coming to interview him, I guess, in German. Probably the first time we've had, you know, a post-practice interview in German. But there is a buzz about these kids, this team, that you didn't know how that was going to go, and it's there, and we'll see how it goes. But for the moment, it's kind of fun to remember. Yeah, that's kind of how it used to be.
Mm-hmm. Another popular guy post-practice was not a freshman. It was quarterbacks coach Brian Ellis. He obviously was peppered with a lot of questions about the how they made that starting quarterback decision. What do you have to say?
Well, it was about, he said, it was essentially he did so well whenever things went live. You know, the scrimmages, the 2-minute drills, he said he just, you know, answered the bell at those points in time. And he just, and he said, you know, they're going to have different game plans, whether, you know, JT comes out and is just lighting it up and they go with the whole playbook and just, you know, ride it, or there's, you know, some struggling going on and they roll it back and all of that. He said, we've got, you know, like 4 different plans for this weekend, knowing you're going out with, you know, with a kid his first time out. But he talked about the comfort level that JT has being out there. And I asked him, how does it improve your comfort level knowing you've got a kid who has that sort of a comfort level? And he said, absolutely, you feel it if you're a coach and you're coaching a kid who looks like that this is not a big deal. This is what you do. This is who you are. And, you know, he shakes his head like it's hard to believe you're getting a freshman who can do and knows what he knows and can make throws that he makes and all of the things that you're getting in this, you know, in one kid who's still 18 years old and could be a high school senior. It's, you know, I think they're kind of pinching themselves that he is what they hoped he would be. What they thought he could be, he actually is to this point. So, but everybody knows they got to, you know, practice tomorrow and the next day and the next day, and then they got a game, and we'll see how that goes. But this is kind of fun to be part of this and see where does it go. It's a team that's got a chance.
Yeah, as you mentioned, there's actually a game this week on Saturday. Helton usually on Tuesdays gives a little bit of a preview of who the opponent they're playing. What do you have to say about UNLV?
I mean, they're going to be a team that absolutely has athletes who can run the ball, a quarterback and one running back and a wide receiver and guys with speed and some really good athletes. They're going to challenge you. I guess the question is when USC has the ball, what kind of athletes does UNLV have? They've got a new defensive coordinator, so they're not completely sure what they're going to see with UNLV. But it's interesting. There's this kind of connection. The UNLV head coach is the brother of the Gorman coach, and of course there's been that connection between Mater Dei and Gorman, or there's the Gorman connection here with Bubba Bolden is going to be starting for USC. So a lot of kind of connections. You got the sense from the press conference today at UNLV that they have a pretty good idea who JT Daniels is. Mm-hmm. I mean, he finished. I guess it was a 55-game winning streak that Bishop Gorman had last year that Mater Dei went up there and beat him. And so and they talk about they're going to try to make him uncomfortable, and they're going to try to. They know he's a freshman, and they said, we know how good he is, but we know he's a freshman, and it's going to be interesting because Brian Ellis talked about that. JT has the skill set that he can, if you really, really try to come after him. Now you're going to have to play man. You're going to open up throwing lanes. Yeah. So, you maybe want to pick your poison because if you're USC, you might want them to do that. And if they're UNLV, you might think, well, we got to go after him. He's a freshman. Well, we'll see how that works. That's going to be that'd be a fun dynamic.
Yeah, for sure. As far as personnel notes, Clay Helton confirmed and announced that Keely Ross is transferring out of the school. He will be focusing on academics this fall to be a graduate transfer in 2019. He also announced that Jakari Godfrey will be transferring out as well. And then as far as injury news, Porter Gustin was out there for the first time since tearing his meniscus, full contact, and he looked pretty good, but Helton said that they're going to wait and see how his body reacts to a full contact practice. Porter is not cleared for a game yet, but Helton said that he's pretty confident that Porter Gustin will play. So
yeah,
I mean, but is that the right move there?
I mean, this is completely different from last year. I mean, from last year we all knew what the right move was, and that move didn't get made. But I think Porter understands too. He's not doing himself any favors if he re-injures himself, coming back too soon. But and he and Cam were out there. That defensive group looks like, hey, okay, this is the group. And the second group looks pretty good too. I think and you can see, you got to be on this. Probably you got to feel like I'm on that first two groups, or it's really going to be a hard, to get into the game, which might be the situation with Jakari Godfrey and Keely. I just think they have so many athletes. There's only so many guys you can play. I think they're going to play all those guys that we think they're going to play. It just means that they still don't have room for everybody to get in the game. It's going to be. This will be. I think I like the UNLV game because it should be a chance to get everybody on the field in the game who deserves to be in the game, and get them ready, for those next 2 weeks. I think this is kind of an ideal opener, and I think UNLV's got enough athletes that especially to challenge that defense and make them really be able to. I thought they looked really good today. I thought they in the team run and then in the final kind of scout session. But it's not a scout team that you're going against. It's a bunch of second and third team offensive guys. And I thought the defense looked really good in those sessions. So, I'm upbeat about this defense.
The other thing to note or watch for is Toa Lobendon was pulled after participating in the first round of team periods today. Helton did mention on Thursday that Toa has a pec injury that he suffered in summer that we didn't know about, but we were now told on Thursday, and so he was pulled for that pec injury. Is that a little bit of concern given Toa's injury history?
Yeah, I think given his injury history and the fact that he's got to snap the ball. I mean, we don't even know which, it would be, less impactful if it's on the left side as the right side. But, I think that's, I think the benefit is they do have two other centers that they feel like, they went with all spring. Yeah. So that's a big advantage with, with Nealon and Dedich. But, I think it's something to think about. And is it a concern? And the fact that they put him in the first series, I don't know if that means they just wanted to get him some work and then take it easy on him, or did something happen while he was out there on the first series and they decided, okay, we better take. And that's what we don't know, and they're not going to tell us. Yeah. So we can see how tomorrow goes. Because if you're going to throw the ball a lot on Wednesday, you really want to get down that, quarterback center snap. Yep. And so I think it's crucial for him to be there tomorrow.
Yep. All right, that's going to wrap it up for Tuesday's practice of UNLV week. For Dan Weber, I'm Keely Eure. For more, check out USCfootball.com.